This is a great view out here.
It is.
We're parked up here at Lakeside Forest Wilderness area, getting ready to start the show.
Sunny afternoon in the Ozarks.
Sunny afternoon. It's beautiful. So we parked up here because we wanted to have a really good view of Branson. This is a great view up here. It's nice. I do have to say, Ken, though, when we bought the Realtor Mobile, right, the Rolling Realtor Studio.
That's right.
When we purchased this thing, Ken here was all about the seat heaters, right?
This is true.
And I was a little against it, I gotta say. But now that we're sitting here, and my rear end is toasty warm, I'm feeling the seat heaters, man. These are nice. I've got mine's turned up to 5. Is there a 6? If there was a 6, I would go up another notch.
Money well spent.
I gotta tell you,
it's a good investment.
That's great. Yeah, you know what we're all about here at the Real Pro Team.
Coffee, donuts,
coffee, donuts, and a seat heater.
Seat heater, yes.
You know, I mean, this is nice. I hadn't really turned this thing on since winter got here, but I'm all about it.
The creature comforts.
Oh yeah, we gotta have some creature comforts up in here, especially when we're eating donuts and drinking coffee.
That's right.
Right? We're gonna be wired after this is over.
Yeah, I have no worries about getting through my work this afternoon. I will have energy to spare.
You can't see it out there in Facebook land, but we got the dash. So this van has a big dashboard, right? It's big, and it's just lined up with donuts. It's glorious. I'd show it to you, but I don't want to move the camera, and I don't know, maybe I'm just a little too lazy. But actually, this is great. I gotta tell you, let's not even do a show. Let's just sit here and eat donuts and be done with it. What do you think?
But what about our audience?
Well, yeah, we do.
We can't leave them hanging.
We do. I gotta get my microphone fixed here. Get it in the right spot. All right. Well, hey, it's straight up to 2:00, and we're gonna get rolling here in about a minute, whatever. Doing the show, so we're gonna let some people get on and get watching. But let's do a little intro here. This is so today we're not in the Rolling Realtor Studio because we're going to be eating a lot of donuts. We're in the stationary Realtor Studio. This is our season 1 finale. We're going live. We're breaking all the rules of Facebook Live and live TV. We're doing it.
Yes.
One, we're in a public area. There's a lot of people walking around here, up here at Lakeside Forest Wilderness area. We wanted to have a good view for this show.
True.
So here we are. So the other thing is we're going to eat live on air. You're going to love that.
Because what could go wrong?
What could go wrong?
Eating donuts live
on Facebook. Yeah, nothing. And the third rule we're breaking here is we're just going live in general. Let me tell you, Face for Radio Productions does not go live. But the other great thing is that Ken and I are both fighting the cold. Welcome to winter.
That's true.
So we just figured we'll sit here and just cough and blow our nose and everything all day, and you guys are going to love it. So what are we going to be talking about today other than all the rules we're breaking on Facebook Live, right? The first thing we're going to talk about is we're going to do in the news, but I'm going to get out of the Wall Street Journal for once. And I'm just going to talk about some general news from the National Association of Realtors. Big conference here recently. And part of that conference was a big vote on pocket listings. That was the hot topic.
Big deal.
And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. And I'm going to give my opinion on it and kind of talk about the fact that I think a lot of what you've been seeing about this vote and reading about this vote, frankly, was fake news.
Fake news.
Fake news. We're going to talk about fake news.
Wow.
Which fake news? We can just do a whole show over fake news, but we're not going to get political here at all. So we're going to talk about that second. And probably most importantly, this is our first ever Best of Branson special, our season finale. We're live. We've told you we're sampling donuts from all of our local donut shops, which we'll talk about a little bit more later, but we will declare at the end of the show who the source of the best donuts are. I'm really excited about that. I can't wait to get there.
I'm very excited about the research that we're going to do
It's going to take some real in-depth research. And then Ken's going to talk about one of our favorite subjects.
Well, kind of two of our favorite subjects combined. Cars and real estate.
Love them both.
Both very exciting. But more to come on that, in a minute here. Hang on. It's coming. It'll be there. So right now we're going to take a moment while folks are, getting set, jumping on, getting situated
Give some
on
time
Facebook
for
Land.
a few more people to join. You know what?
Yeah.
While we're waiting for folks to join, hang tight with us. It's going to be worth it.
Come on here now.
I'm gonna try a little bit of donut here.
I think it's a good idea.
This chocolate with the gold sprinkles on it is just calling my name. So I'm gonna go ahead and get with one of these.
Let's check that out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good.
Is that good? Let's find out.
You should try that too.
What's with the gold sprinkles?
It's festive, I think.
Okay.
Or it's the gold standard. It's the gold standard of donuts.
It's not Kohlschlager though.
No.
Okay.
No, not that.
Because we are driving.
Good. Well,
or we're...
We have mentioned this previously. Well, 1 for 1 so far. Good donut.
Being a glazed donut kind of guy, this is pretty good.
Yeah. Calling your name?
I would consider this, yes.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention. Everyone's used to seeing us out there with our McDonald's vanilla lattes.
This is true.
Right? We go through 7, 8, 9, 10 of those an hour. Today, changing it up, live episode. We're going to thank Dunkin' Donuts right here. Dunkin'.
That's right.
You see that there, Dunkin'? All right. We got the very special white chocolate latte today.
One of our holiday offerings.
It's very good.
It is very good.
I am impressed. So, this is a good way to start the show, I think.
I kind of think this might be the way that...
We should do all episodes like this, don't you think?
Have some form of
Every
food
single
involved.
episode.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. I give that a 74 out of 10. No.
I agree.
No.
Carry the 1, divide by 2.
No. 74.
Close enough.
Close enough. Pocket listings. All right.
Here we go.
Yeah. We're going to just jump right in, right? So, our live episodes, many of you know, you never see any paperwork around because we're driving. It's all here. There's 30 some odd years of experience in this van. But because it's a live episode, I have paperwork. I've been reading all these stories since this vote happened at the NAR. If you hadn't heard about it, basically there was this huge vote at the National Association of Realtors yearly conference. Happens every year in November. And the entire board, it's a lot, hundreds of people, right? Hundreds of realtors. Let me be specific. These are all realtors. There was a vote on the table basically banning pocket listings. So, pocket listings are basically where you take a listing, but you don't put it in the multi-list, but you advertise it locally, which basically excludes other realtors from knowing that property is available and then allowing them to turn around and then tell their buyers. I can't go tell my clients that this listing is available because you haven't notified other realtors. With our technology, our multi-listing services online, there was a time when your multi-listing service was literally a binder at the board of realtors. And you would go over there and put your new listings in it. See, there we go. Put your new listings in it, and then when I had a buyer, this was before my time, but you would go to the binder and you would sift through the listings with your buyer. You'd make phone calls to those agents because their phone numbers was on this information. And that's basically how you would find homes. You had to go to the binder. That was the multi-list. Even before that, every listing was kind of a pocket listing. But there was a day and age around the world when there was basically like one real estate agent in a town, because real estate did not everybody owned a home, and mortgage lending was a whole different thing. I mean, I'm getting into the weeds here, but the point I'm trying to make is that the pocket listing thing that they're talking about here, this not notifying agents, when I read some of these stories, to me, what I was reading in here was it's somehow difficult for real estate agents to notify other agents that a house is available, and it's not. I literally get on my computer, I type in all the information, it's the MLS, and every realtor in that MLS knows that house is available. And that's a big driving force that's pushing our our modern real estate market. And I think it's important to understand that when I read some of these stories, they were very sensational. You know, and I mean, I've got pages and pages from 15 different news sources. Some of them more reliable than others. Some of them are news sources that I use that I kind of read the story and I thought this is not a real big sensational story, because it's a very, very small part of our market. And most of the pocket listings that are taking place, that are true pocket listings, as in an agent is purposely holding it off the market hoping to sell it immediately themselves.
True.
That's really what we're talking about here. It happens in big markets with multi-million-dollar properties where inventory is not just zero, it's way in the negative. Like to the point that you might have 20 buyers sitting around waiting for the same type of house. And when there's only one available, it's great for the seller, horrible for the buyers. It's even worse when you got an agent that lists it and just calls up their clients, or maybe even just calls up a couple of agents that they know. Be like, hey, if you'll put me in, an offer over ask, I can probably get you under contract on this time. Stuff like that is kind of what we're talking about happening that really shouldn't be happening. It's so few properties, it's minute in terms of the number of transactions that's happening on. The other part of it that I've heard people argue about, there was actually one website, and I'm not gonna say who it is. 3 letters, they have a TV show too. They stand around, they just talk, and they drink coffee.
Let's not call anybody out.
We're not gonna call anybody. We don't do that. We're not gonna call anybody out. But basically, this website that's just very sensational about celebrities, talking about how, celebrities don't want their homes on MLSs because you'll just get looky-loos coming through, or somebody who wants to try to steal something from that. Look.
How many times have you seen that name?
One, first of all, we've sold celebrity properties. And I will tell you that I've been on a listing appointment on a property, and I get there, I'd never met the celebrity. Never. And the celebrity was represented by someone, and the owner's name on the house was an LLC. And I looked the LLC up, and it's registered to an attorney in St. Louis, and I could never have found out until the person that was representing the celebrity told me this is what's going on.
These people are not leaving the set location or the recording studio to come handle something like that on a person-to-person basis.
There's a lot of different types of celebrities out there today, from sports figures to political figures, and they're all celebrities. I would almost guarantee none of them have property. I'm not a celebrity. 25 people in the whole world know me. What's this? I like my dog and 5 people. My point is that I own a lot of property. Ken owns a lot of property, and none of it is in our own name. Very little of it, if it is. Maybe our personal home, but who cares? But any of our other properties in an LLC, and nobody knows that I own it. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Most of it's liability. Some of it has something to do with taxes, things like that.
That's a whole show.
Yeah, that's a whole other show. We'll get to that later. My point is that this argument that celebrity listings need, and that is exactly what this story said, need to be pocket listings. As in celebrity, bad things will happen. One, again, in this modern day and age, I can find just about any celebrity. There's probably something on the internet about a story about when they bought or sold a house or something. And usually it happens way after the transaction takes place. And most counties in the country now have online systems where you can go search deeds and find out who owns a property. And I guarantee you, if you just go type in some celebrity's name, or a property a celebrity lives in, and you go do the research, you're not going to find their name on the property.
No.
So it really just... I just don't believe that that's the truth. What I really think is happening, and I'm going to call some people out here. I'm calling out some of these realtors in these big cities or these real high-end expensive properties or whatever it is. The reason that they want to do a pocket listing and the reason that they tell their celebrity client that's a good idea is because they want to use that celebrity's name to go call some folks and say, hey, do you want to buy so-and-so's house because I got it listed? And the fact is, they probably took a big listing with a low commission, and they don't want to share the commission. That's what it comes down to. It's greed. And I think it's wrong. And I don't think you should do it. That's why 100% this vote by the NAR and the decision that they made should have been made a long time ago. But it really wasn't. There wasn't any news swirling around it. Like there was no reason to do it. But now that they've changed it, I think it's a great change. Now I do want to talk about some of the differences in some of these listings. There's a big difference between, like, I took a pocket listing and I had a buyer, because this happens to us in our area. We'll have a buyer comes in that wants a very specific type of property, and that property is not on the market right now. It happens a lot in investment and vacation homes.
True.
And this year we had a couple of these kind of pop up where we had there's a particular area of town in Thousand Hills where there's a kind of a gated community within the condo association, and there's only like 15 or 18 units on that street. That's it. And that's what they wanted, and there was none available. So, being the good agents that we are, we wrote up a letter. We sent the letter to everybody that lived on that street and said, if you want to sell your property, please give us a call. And our letter said, if you have an agent, have them give us a call. We have a buyer. And we got 2 phone calls. One of them did not work out, but the second one, that individual said, hey, we would really like to sell our unit. We're looking to downsize. Could you help us with that? Bam.
Worked out great for everybody.
Made the phone call. We called our buyer. We did all the appropriate paperwork, and we put it in the MLS that it was sold. Now, is that a pocket listing? I'm going to say no, because they didn't call me and say, hey, list my house, and then go find. I already had the buyer. The buyer was my client, already ready to buy, just wanted a specific area. And as most agents would do, if you've got a good agent and you're a buyer and you say, I want this, they're going to find a way to make that happen for you. That's their job. That's what you're hiring them to do. We called, or we sent a letter out. We got a phone call from someone who wanted to sell. We were able to put a deal together. Buyer and seller were happy. Nothing was hidden. It was all above board. We put it in the MLS as a sale. So that happens sometimes, and that's just the legwork that your realtor does on a pocket listing. The thing that I think that the NAR is trying to police here, or to end here, is this practice where a seller's agent just has a listing that everyone should be able to participate in selling, every real estate agent. And frankly, even the public should know that it's available.
True. Right?
I mean, that should be advertised out to the public. Now, part of what the NAR did talk about in here is some of these agents that were taking pocket listings were doing advertising publicly, like on Zillow, just putting the listings in, or like maybe putting signs up, or maybe they were putting like an ad in the paper. It could have been anything, but what they weren't doing was putting it in the MLS and offering cooperation to other realtors. That rule is already in the NAR's guidelines. And in fact, I just want to read it. In our policies, the statement says it's Article 1 of the NAR's, these are the policies that we all say we're going to adhere to as realtors, is to promote and protect the interests of the client, period. So if you're to promote and protect the interests of your clients, how can you have these pocket listings that you're not sending out to every realtor that has buyer clients to buy? If you're just holding it all for yourself, that doesn't meet that standard. And so I feel like that was already there. This was just a specific situation where the NAR had to say, we're going to end this.
They're not casting the broadest net possible.
And I can't speak to, we can't speak to other MLSs. But my understanding is, and we've talked at length about this, is that our MLS has had a rule for a long time that you have to have a listing in the MLS within a certain number of days. And if you don't do that, you're violating the rules of our MLS. So this isn't a change
and there
for
will
any
be
of
fines.
us. Yeah, they can fine you. There was one MLS, again, I'm not going to call anybody out, that was really like big on this. And I think I heard they had like a $5,000 fine for pocket listings. And look, we're a self-policing organization, big time, because we don't need some of these other agents out there doing things we don't need them to do, giving us a bad name, when the majority of us work our rear ends off, take care of our clients, and be 100% above board and ethical. And so, I think a $5,000 fine goes a long way. And let me tell you, folks,
That would get someone's attention, I would believe.
Well, and in realtor world, we'll turn our best friend in. We will, all day long. And it has nothing to do with, we don't want him doing business or whatever. It's 100%. I don't care. If this is my best friend in the business, and I knew they were doing something unethical that violated the NAR's code of ethics or the Missouri Real Estate Commission's rules and regulations and laws, our Missouri Realtors Association, I'll turn them in. I got no problem. And let them sort out. If it's something minor, I'm gonna make a phone call and be like, hey, don't do this. But if I saw somebody doing pocket listings, I'd turn them in. I have no problem with it. If I saw ads and there was a real estate agent on there and they're not, they're not putting it in the MLS and opening it up for cooperation to as many buyers as possible, yeah, I have no problem with that.
Well, that's the way it is.
Doesn't hurt my feelings. That's what we got to do. So, yeah. So that's my spiel about what's going on with the NAR and the pocket listings. I'm eyeballing something up here I want to tell you about, this red velvet thing. I'm going to have some of that, and I'm going to turn it over. Ken's going to talk a little bit about cars and real estate.
Cars and real estate.
Yeah.
So we're done with pocket listings right now, right?
You know what? I'm going to say I'm done with pocket listings. Look, if y'all have some comments or something or questions about that, we're going to talk about kind of towards the end of the show about some of the stuff that came up from some of our other episodes earlier this season. But if you want to know, any more, you have comments you want to make about pocket listings or the NAR, throw them in comments and we'll answer. But I really think the stuff that you've seen in the news, I think it's overblown. This is not a rampant, systemic, unethical practice that's happening all over. It's barely happening at all. It's a very select group. And I think the reasons that they're giving are very self-serving. That's the point I want to make.
Fair enough.
Now, on a happier note, again, two of our favorite things, cars and real estate. And I'm headed for this red velvet right here.
There you go. Yeah. Well, in episode 2, we talked about, unique properties, and one of the things we pointed out was there's some properties being built where they're basically right on racetracks. So if you have these high-performance cars, always, racing in your blood, basically the garage leads straight out to the track. So for your high-performance cars, you can really cut loose and let them go.
One of the things I found fascinating about that in between my red velvet was what these things are selling for. The racetrack that we talked about was in Phoenix, and it's a 20-foot wide on the front where the track is, 40-foot deep, and you just buy the shell for $250,000, and then you have to finish it out yourself. So you can finish it out into, like a apartment. One of them that we saw was a resale that was on the market, and they had finished it out into basically the first floor was like a big garage for their cars, but it did have like a dining room and a kitchen down there, and then the second floor was a big master suite with a big bathroom and all that. And they had $500,000 in build cost in it, and it was on the market for like $700,000 and had multiple offers.
Well, that just proves that one of the neat things about real estate in general is there are some unique markets for unique properties. That is definitely unique property, but there's also, as that would prove, there's a market for that type of property. What we're talking about today is kind of interesting. This is something that I would enjoy. So, looking at properties and cars. A gentleman in Colorado bought a piece of land, spent 7 years in the development phase of getting his property built the way he wanted it, had his architect, kudos to the architect, his architect spent 4 days in a tent on the vacant site to lay out and design the entire property.
Like basically lived in a tent on the property.
Yes.
For 4 days, just drawing the layout.
Mm-hmm.
That's commitment right there.
That sure is. Speaking of which, the property itself, just under 80 acres. So you had some property. You had a blank canvas, as they say, to work with. So at the end of the day, we have a beautiful Mediterranean-style 25,000 square foot house.
Seems reasonable.
Well, you like room to move, Mm-hmm. Saltwater aquariums, a Hefner-esque grotto in the pool area.
So it's got some Hefner to it, is what you're saying.
A little bit.
Wow. Okay.
You know, so we have this beautiful estate, but we haven't got to the car part yet, and this is where it sings to me, as they
so
say.
it's a 25,000 square foot house, but it's got a garage, like a 3-car, 4-car, 5-car garage.
I'm sure somewhere, but
Okay.
hold on. Here's what's important, because as a car collector, as this gentleman was, at one point in time, he had 232 cars in his collection.
All right. Substantial.
A couple cars.
Substantial.
And, you know, among this, there's race cars, because he was a race car driver himself.
Okay.
At one point in
The
time.
story kind of starts to come together.
For the love of cars is, yes. And of these, you know, we have classics, we have race cars, we have 23 different Lamborghinis.
That's all?
That's all. Apparently he couldn't quite find 24. So 23 was where he stopped.
Okay, 23 is where he stopped.
You know, a vintage 30s Bugatti. So,
knows his cars, is what you're saying. This is a car guy.
yeah, I'm thinking this is a pretty
We're a long ways from this guy.
well-curated collection.
So let's qualify this a little bit. Ken and I are car guys, and
Yes.
we have a category where both of us just not planned or anything. We're both into roadsters. I like the European variants, Mercedes, SLs, and Porsches. And Ken's into the Americans. He's got a Thunderbird. He's got a Corvette.
The Mustang.
We're car guys, and this speaks to us a lot on a car level, but also on a real estate level. Because I think where you're going with this, I think, and I didn't read all this story. I'm kind of hearing some of this just up front. I think the next thing you're going to tell me is about. It's going to go back to our episode we did about T. Boone Pickens.
Mm-hmm.
And you know he was into hunting, and he had this 15,000 square foot kennel for his 8 hunting dogs.
Yes.
So I think the next thing you're going to talk to us about is the garage.
Well, you know, the things you focus on are your passions, and
Yes.
in this case, with that many cars, you got to put them somewhere.
Where is he putting his cars?
So he had built a 30,000 square foot garage, showroom, car wash combination. So as if 25,000 square feet in
So
the
he's
house
got a
wasn't enough.
25,000 square foot house. But his
And-
garage is 5,000 square foot bigger than the house.
Yes.
That
Unfortunately, it only holds 100 of his cars.
is that all?
So he still has 132 in various facilities around the area.
Probably rotates them out, I'm sure.
You know,
Gotta
like
rotate the
your
collection
winter
out.
wardrobe to your summer wardrobe. He has the winter cars to the summer cars.
Okay, so we got a 25,000 square foot house, 30,000 square foot garage. So again, this is a specific property, like we were talking about with the hangars on the racetracks being a very specific market.
Yes.
This property is a single property, but very specific for a type of owner that needs a 30,000 square foot garage.
Right.
Continue. You've piqued my interest.
So, you know, just the uniqueness of it, and with the 80 acres. So, you know, if this just isn't quite big enough for you, you still have quite a few acres to expand upon.
Well, just 80.
You know, so it's on the market for sale. So this is where all of you car guys and real estate folks should perk up. Here's the deal.
Okay.
In the 7 years it took to get this whole thing completed,
7 years to build.
now we're here. $30 million invested.
$30 million to build the property.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what does he want for it?
Well, it's on sale.
It's on sale.
It's on sale
All right, even better.
at the low price of $19,999,000.
You got a $10 million discount.
See there?
I'd call that clearance
You
rack.
heard it here first.
Hang that on the clearance
$10
rack.
million off.
Wow. And if any of you out there want to buy a nice car property like this, you know who to call.
We can figure it out for you.
So here's my. So now I'm very curious. Who is this guy?
Well, his name is Richard Berry.
Richard Berry.
He is a former race car driver,
All right, explains a lot.
and another little venture that the family was involved in. They invented the Yellow Pages.
So this is the Yellow Pages guy, basically.
Yes, his grandfather invented the Yellow Pages.
Yeah, I'm gonna say he's probably got a few dollars to roll around in, and he chose what he wanted to do with it.
He did, but you know, as with everything else, the reason for sale, it is a little big for his needs. He's downsizing. We have people come here all the time downsizing.
Well, you were saying something earlier. So this guy's a bachelor.
Yes.
So it's just him. What was it? He bought a party bus or something?
In amongst all of his cars, because sometimes you want to take friends with you. He purchased a party bus because he is a big Denver Broncos fan, Colorado Avalanche fan. So he would take the party bus and take his friends and transport them back and forth to the games.
Is there an application? I'd like to be Richard's
I've read
friend.
the whole story twice. I've not seen one, but if there is an application or some way to sign up for this,
where can I apply to be
I would
Richard's
like
friend?
to say
I will get on the party bus.
We are willing to sign up to be, friends in this situation. So,
I could get in on that. Yeah.
There would be worse things to spend a weekend doing.
Yeah, I mean that again. Very specific property. And here's the next thing. So we're gonna keep tabs on this, but the next thing that's gonna happen is that thing's gonna sell for. I think it's probably gonna sell for a pretty low price, because I think what happens is when you get property so specific like that, even in Colorado, which I was just in Colorado, and the real estate prices out there blow my mind. But
that is the high rent district. Yes.
Well, like we were in Breckenridge, and I was like, oh, maybe we get a condo up here. I love coming up here. And of course, in my mind, I'm comparing it to Branson. And as a real estate agent, you really already know you can't do that. Location.
That's it.
But the point is that I was looking to buy the condo that we were staying in belonged to some clients. They let us use it out there. But there were condos for sale around them, not their specific condo, but the same unit. Blew my mind. These people bought this place in the 80s, and I think they said they paid like $95,000 for it. And they've renovated it several times since then. And it is on a nightly rental program, which in Breckenridge is, you're making bank. I mean, they get $400 or $500 a night.
One thing to take away here, folks.
So,
when did he say? Bought it in the 80s.
Bought it in the 80s. Hold. So today, in the same building, it was like 2 doors down, same condo, same basic type of renovation, was $495,000. For a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo that I could buy here at Thousand Hills for $135,000.
Slight uptick in value.
Now, you're getting $129 a night at Thousand Hills, and they're getting $500 a night. It's a whole different world. I get it, but it just blows my mind. This guy has got this $20 million property, and it's probably worth every penny of that. We'll keep an eye on it, maybe update you on it. But what we've seen, some of these really high-end, unique properties, we talked about this in a previous episode about pricing, that, when you got 1 or 2 buyers and that's it, and they know that, sometimes you're a little over-specific. So that's something to watch out for. If you're renovating a home or you're purchasing a home and you want to do some really things that you think are really cool you want to do, just kind of think about it first, maybe talk to your real estate agent, because people can do stuff like that, and he's already taken a $10 million hit on it. The question is, how much more of a hit might he take? He might not take any. $10 million might be enough, but we talked about the mountain in Beverly Hills that was on the market for $1 billion, and by the time it got through the successor trustees and the courts and all that, it sold for, I think an investment group bought it for $400 million, $300 million, something like that. Very low compared to what they had this basically mountaintop listed for.
In the Midwest, the former Michael Jordan estate in Chicago, with its own basketball court and its own pool, very tailored to Mr. Jordan. $34 million build cost, and it's on right now for 12.
For 12, yeah. I mean, again, we like talking about how there's low inventory, but one of one sometimes only has one buyer, and that buyer's going to pay what that buyer's going to pay.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, moving on. We're just about out of time. We hate to say that, but we're getting there. What's on tap for the Real Estate Geeks? What are we going to do next?
Sorry, I was in Red Velvet.
How was that Red Velvet?
Man,
did that do anything for you?
That's a good donut,
right?
For sure.
That I could live on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what's on tap for next season? We have a winter special coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to divulge any details. We like being mysterious.
That's how special it is.
It's so special.
Wait for it.
It's so special that we don't know what it is. We have plans.
I wasn't going to say that part. I was going to say wait for it.
Yeah, we have plans. We do have a winter special coming up. We'll have more on that later, January, February, and then season 2, the Real Estate Geeks is coming up. We're going to hit that in the March-April timeframe. Again, we'll lock that down. We'll update you out there in Facebook land. And we're going to be talking about we're going to focus. So this season, we really took some specific topics and drilled them down. We're going to get a little broader next season. We're just going to talk about selling a house. That's an important part. Now, season 3, which will happen later next year, we're just going to talk about buying a house. So now you know what's going on all of next year. You have no excuse not to be there. Real quick, Christina here asked us a question, and I will say,
Christina, Austin, Kim,
so they already know none of the cars are going with the house. You're just getting a house. You got to fill with your own cars. There was a ranch in I want to say it was in Utah. Was it in Utah? Anyway, I don't remember. And the guy was selling it for $200-something million, but it included his entire car collection.
Yes.
So we could chat with Richard, because I'm telling you, by next week we're going to be Richard. If you're out there, Richard Berry, we're looking for you. Yeah, we get your new best friends right here. But we can talk to Richard and be like, hey, you wanna sell it?
As a service to our clients, we're willing to.
I'll negotiate those cars.
Go out there and hang out with Richard in his house for a couple days.
Yeah.
Maybe check the cars, make sure.
Well, we do that for you. We would.
That's customer service right here.
Customer service, right? So let's talk about donuts. Number one, this coffee's on point.
Coffee's working, that's for sure.
You know, we mentioned earlier we have an affinity for McDonald's vanilla lattes. Dunkin' Donuts, you're giving them a run for their money. I'm going to say both are delicious.
Really good.
So we just got to do it. We have to do this, Ken. We have to say who has the best donuts in Branson. I'm going to tell you where I'm at. I think we're in the same place. We already know. We know.
I believe.
I think the fact that we have to face is that Branson in general is the best place for donuts. All the donuts are good. All the donuts I've sampled today, I would eat again.
We've done a lot of research today.
We have a few leftovers. I'm going to eat all of them. I'm not going to share it all. I might share it with Ken.
Research must continue.
But he's in the car and so I don't have a choice. But you out there on Facebook, you got to go get your own donuts. But I think that's the verdict. I think that's it right there. On that disappointing note, the show's over. You now know if you want a donut, come to Branson.
That's right.
All the best donuts are right here. And we will see you sometime this winter with our winter special. And next season, season 2 of the Real Estate Geeks.
Season 2.
Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. We can't wait to see you again. Have a good day.